We can hear you and we can also see the screen.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about life sciences, selecting your courses with an eye towards the programs within the life sciences. Our agenda for today, um, we're going to cover these basic things, and then we're actually going to go into the timetable, and I'll show you how you can select courses and build your schedule out. Okay. So first, use your resources. Start with the registrar's office. We're always a good place to get answers to any questions, whether you are um, asking a question that you think, oh, surely I can find this someplace else, or maybe this doesn't relate to the registrar's office. Ask us anyway. We're a good first stop, reliable first stop for any questions that you have. If we don't have the answer, and we have the answers to a lot of questions, but if we don't have the answer, then we'll know how to direct you, or we will find that out. Use your online planning tools. So the calendar, which I just spent some time going through, the timetable builder, which we're going to go through now, the Innis 101 Quirkus, which I have spent hundreds of hours working on, along with some of my colleagues to ensure that it has a ton of important, relevant information in there for you. Please use it. Um, the Arts and Science Current Student site, which is the main site for arts and science information. And then Acorn, which we'll spend a little bit of time talking about today. That's your course management site. And then Degree Explorer, which you can access through Acorn. So Degree Explorer is a fantastic tool that helps you manage your degree requirements and it'll show you along the way with every course that you take the progress that you're making towards those 5 degree requirements that I just talked about. Degree Explorer also is a great resource for planning. So you can build a couple of hypothetical plans and situations depending on your variety of program interests, and plot some courses in for the next few semesters and see if you can actually make it all work. For program specific inquiries, as I highlighted and mentioned a couple of times in my last session, there are departmental representatives who are keenly, keenly, is that the right word? Intimately familiar with the programs and courses that are available in their departments, and all of their contact information is in the Arts and Science calendar. And then other helpful resources, you'll be connected, I think, this week to your Innis Upper Year Student e-mentor. They're there and trained and ready to help you as well. And then other upper year students. I put a little star there saying proceed with caution, because upper year students in general try, not to mislead you, right? They're trying to be helpful, but some of their degree requirements may be different because the calendar is refreshed every year. Sometimes things change. So they may not be the most up to speed on all of the changes that are relevant to you. So take advice from upper year students with a grain of salt. If anything sounds fishy or seems not right, or you're just wanting to double check and make sure the advice that you were given is accurate, that's what the registrar's office is for. If you come to me and I give you bad advice, if I screw up, then I can fix it. If you make a decision based on somebody else's bad advice, oftentimes there's nothing that we can do. So, all right. And hopefully I don't give you bad advice, because I take my accountability to you very seriously. Okay, so once you've used your tools, then choose courses based on the programs in which you're interested. So that academic calendar that I just went through, the timetable builder, which we'll spend time talking about today, and then here's a screenshot for Acorn, which is where all of your enrolling actually happens. Okay, so using the arts and science calendar, I've selected the admission requirements or the first year requirements for 2 different life science programs. So as I said in my calendar session, it is ideal if you have a few different programs in mind that you might like to take. You might be thinking, if I'm going to limit myself to a maximum of 5 credits worth of courses, then if I choose a bunch of different programs, how will I be able to fit all of those first year requirements in? You guys in the life sciences are extremely lucky in this regard, because for the life sciences, with the exception of psychology, which only has that Psych 100 requirement, the requirements for first year students are pretty much similar across the board. It's usually a full year of biology, a full year of chemistry, and a half or a full year of calculus. So no program will require more than 3 credits worth of courses to take in your first year to be admissible to that particular program. Now, in this case, these two programs are both open enrollment programs. If I highlight, nope, that's not going to work. So hopefully you can see my pointer here. These are open enrollment programs, which just means you need to earn 4 credits in order to join the program at the end of year 1. But you need to take these courses in order to help complete that program. So biology 120, 130, chemistry 135 and 136, or 151. And I have a slide coming up to tell you about the different variations of courses. Plus, in this case, math 135 is required, but here too, math 135, comma, which means and math 136. Anytime, as I mentioned with the answer to the last question, one of the last questions in the last session, anytime you see course codes that are separated by a slash, it means or. So for environment and health major, they'll accept any one of these half-credit courses towards completion of the program. And if you see courses separated by a comma or a semicolon, or a plus sign or the word and, it means and. So for genome biology, you need a full year of bio, full year of chemistry, and a full year of calculus. And then in environment and health, just a half credit. So already you have at least 3 credits worth of courses. All right, I'm going to have to take these 3 credits, and that will make me eligible for at least these 2 programs, probably a whole bunch more in the life sciences. Here's an example with the pathobiology specialist. Again, you can see bio 120, bio 130, full year of chemistry, full year of calculus, but they also require physics. So physics has a 100 level, but remember I just said, no program will require more than 3 credits worth of courses for admission to a program. They'll say you can take physics in your first year or in your second year. They're going to base your admissibility on these credits only. Okay, and this is what I just said. Okay, so a bit more detail on how to read course descriptions for you. So here is an actual course description from the calendar that I pulled out and then annotated for you. And we'll go through each of these one at a time. So in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the course code. Remember, course codes have 8 characters. Next comes a course title. The next line down is the number of class time hours that are required for the course. So this is a half credit course, and most half credit courses are semester based. So semester either being the fall semester, which is September to December, or the winter semester, which is January to April. So each semester is 12 weeks long. So the number of class time hours for this course are 24 lecture hours and 12 tutorial hours. So that means that there are 2 hours of lecture per week and 1 hour of tutorial per week. The difference between a lecture and a tutorial is if you're attending the lecture, you're meeting with the professor who's teaching the lesson for that particular class time. They're lecturing at you. There's not usually an option for discussion, and that might be more in a seminar style course where they're giving you their lesson for that time period. A tutorial is where you meet usually in a smaller class setting than the lecture. So there'll be fewer students in a tutorial than there would be in a larger lecture, where you would be meeting with a TA or a teaching assistant. And this is where there's more hands-on activity that happens in the course, not a lab, that's different. You get to ask questions, you may take some quizzes. This is where you'll clarify some concepts that the lecture that you learned in the lecture with the TA. The tutorial is a required part of the course. It's not like if you need extra help, you go for tutoring. It's actually part of the pedagogy of the course, the way that the course is intended to be taught. So don't think of it as optional. There's actually a separate tutorial mark that you get that's incorporated into your, like the class participation mark that gets incorporated into your final mark in the course. Next comes the course description, and then the next few terms are ones that you need to pay close attention to when you're enrolling in courses. A prerequisite is a course or series of courses that you needed to have taken before you can take this one. So students interested in taking this 200 level physical chemistry course needed to have already passed a 100 level chemistry 135 and 136 or chemistry 151 with a minimum mark, a full year of calculus, which is those math courses, and a full year of physics. My next slide is going to talk about the variance. So the differences between 131 and 132 versus 151 and 152, for example. A co-requisite is a course that you need to take at the same time that you're taking this one. So students who have who are enrolling in Chem 222 need to also take Math 235, which is a 200 level calculus, or Math 237 in order to take this. If you've already taken those 200 level calculus courses, and you don't need to retake it, you just need to take it at the same time or before. An exclusion means that if there are courses listed after the term exclusion, it means that if you've taken any of those courses, you are excluded from, or you cannot take Chemistry 222 in this case. So there are a number of, there are 4 different courses here that the department has said, if you've already taken these courses, you can't take that one. It likely, for this example, it likely means that the content is too similar. In other cases, it might be for whatever reason the department has decided. So history, for example, excludes all of the 100 level history courses from all the other 100 level history courses because they only want you to take one. So, but even though the content is different. And here's an example of where you might run across a course in the arts and science calendar that has a 3 or a 5. Remember, those are Scarborough or Mississauga courses at the end of it. So, if you happen to have taken a course at Scarborough, Mississauga, that one of these, you can't take Chem 222 either. And then, no surprises, falls under the breadth category 5, math and physical universes. Okay. That's a lot of information. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about the course variance. So you saw that you had some options with the chemistry, calculus, and physics courses that you could take to fulfill those program requirements. For math, the 100 level math courses, they're all calculus, but we have 4 different levels of these calculus courses. Math 133 is only appropriate for commerce and economics students. Math 133 is not intended for fulfilling any life science program. So if you're taking Math 133, it's not going to count towards your life science requirements. Math 135 and Math 136 are 2 half-credit courses and are generally the standard requirement for the life sciences. This is more practical applications of calculus for and really intended for students in life sci. If you wanted to take a harder level of calculus, something that is more analytical, more abstract, you could take Math 137 or Math 157. These courses are generally required in areas like computer science or statistics or actuarial science, and not for the life sciences. But you can take these. You can always take a harder level of a course variation and have it count for your program. So if you were really into calculus for whatever reason and you wanted to take more than what was required, even though the department said Math 135 and Math 136, you could take Math 137 if you wanted to. Chemistry has 2 different options as well, 2 half-credit courses. Chem 135 is physical chemistry, Chem 136 is organic chemistry, and again are the gold standard for most life science programs. Chemistry 151 is organic and physical and inorganic chemistry. It is a more accelerated version of first year chemistry than the 135 and 136, and really appropriate for students who are planning on pursuing a chemistry heavy program like pharmaceutical chemistry, biological chemistry, even like pharmacology doesn't even require the chemistry 151. Chemistry 151 is a great course for students who are super into chemistry. There's labs every week as opposed to every other week. And it's a much smaller course than Chem 135 and Chem 136, but Chem 135 and Chem 136 really are generally the standard for most life science programs. And then physics, same thing. The 131 and 132 is your standard physics course. Most life science programs don't even require physics. If they do, it'll generally be 131 and 132. Physics 151 and 152 are more accelerated versions of physics and most appropriate for people who are planning on doing a specialist in physics or astronomy and astrophysics or something like that. Okay. All right. So started to look through the calendar. I'm seeing a pattern that biochemistry and calculus are courses that run pretty common across the life sciences. So I know out of my 5 credits worth of courses, I'm planning on taking at least these 3 credits worth of courses. So then you got to think about what other courses am I going to take? Will I take an elective? Will I take a first year foundation course? Will I take courses to make me eligible for other program areas, maybe outside of the life sciences, which is totally fine. If you were interested in another area of study, and so you would want to take those courses from those areas. Here, just to highlight some of the special first year opportunities that we've mentioned a little bit in the last session. First year foundation courses, the idea behind first year foundation courses and one's programs courses is that these courses are designed to help bridge the gap between high school learning and university learning. They're capped to a small class size, so something that's a little bit more familiar to you guys. 25 to 30 students generally is the maximum enrollment, as opposed to your biology and chemistry courses, which could have hundreds, if not over 1,000 students in that class, which is a little bit outside of probably of your comfort zone at this time. The FYFs at Innis, the First Year Foundations at Innis courses, which remember Principal Kyle at the beginning of this session talked about, can be accessed through the Innis College website starting tomorrow. You can start to get a look at the 13 courses that are part of FYF at Innis. Our courses where it's, again, first year foundation courses, but Innis College students get priority enrollment for the whole first week of course enrollment into these courses. And there's usually some kind of Innis additional component that's a part of it. So they'll bring in the Innis librarian or the learning strategist. More likely than not, your co-classmates in this course will be from within the Innis College community. So you might find that there's interest in pursuing one of those programs. The first year foundations ones programs courses are very similar to the FYF courses. And in fact, in all my years, I struggle to come up with anything that's a substantial way to find any differences, other than the ones programs courses are sponsored by each one of the colleges have a ones program course. You don't have to be a member of that college to be eligible to join that program. And usually those programs have courses that are related to the programs of study that are housed within that department. So for example, at Innis, we sponsor writing and rhetoric and urban studies, and we also are the home of cinema studies. And our ones programs courses are related to those 3 programs. So there's 2 courses related to writing. One is a journalism course. Another one is a creative writing course. One program related to urban studies called Blogging the Just City. And then there's one, the city that movies are made in. It's about filmmaking in Toronto. Okay, so if you're searching for first year foundation courses in the arts and science calendar under F, there's a whole tab for first year foundation courses, and you'll know it's a first year foundation course because they'll have course codes of the numbers within the course codes will be between 195 and 199 in those course codes. And then the last thing I want to talk about with you guys in particular is the FLIC. So FLIC stands for First Year Learning Community, and there are, I don't know, 24 or so FLICs across the Faculty of Arts and Science. But at Innis, we have an Innis Life Science FLIC. So it's a group of students who self-identify and apply through this link here to be a part of the First Year Learning Community at Innis, where it's only life science students, only Innis College students, and there's a group of maybe 25 to 30 of you, and we meet every week with 2 upper year student peer mentors, a staff advisor, who is yours truly, and a faculty advisor. And our faculty advisor is the chair of the chemistry department, Dr. Andy Dix. And every other week of those every week sessions is some kind of dedicated programming that is really targeted to you guys. It's things like how to get a research position or a tour of the medical sciences anatomy lab, which is like fascinating, a bit creepy for non-science people, but like myself, but fascinating for students who are really interested in medical sciences. A talk on academic integrity, a talk on writing. We bring in the learning strategists for tips on studying habits and organizing and planning and strategies like, to avoid procrastination and things like that. All the other off weeks are study sessions, so like group study sessions. So it really is a really useful community, and it helps you to get to know other life science students. And here's the other key feature of the FLIC, and then I'll move on to the next slide, is that the FLIC, if you join the FLIC, and there is an application process, and so we cap it at really 30 students at most, you're pre-enrolled in all the same sections of biology, chemistry, and calculus. So you'll really get to know these students, and you'll, in these FLIC meeting sessions, Mondays from 2 to 3:30, but then you'll also see these same students in your classes. And so we really find that it really brings students together. So the same sections of biology, chemistry, and calculus, and also in the FLIC meeting sessions, Mondays from 2 to 3:30. Okay, moving along. So some strategies for choosing courses. I've repeated this a couple of times already. Select courses based on programs in which you're interested. Try and come up with at least 3 different programs and find their first year required courses. Options, if you'd like to take up to 5 credits worth of courses, you'll have plenty of room for electives, so make a list of elective courses you'd like to take. Follow your interests. What do you like to do outside of the life sciences? Is there a hobby that you have, something that you're interested in learning more about? Is there a language that you always wanted to learn? Some more academic study on films? Like, there are so many options that are here. Consider courses that would help you fulfill your breadth requirements. Again, you don't need to do that in year 1, but you have the option to do it throughout your 4 years. But if you have room in your schedule and you have a missing breadth category, then that's an option for you when you're selecting your courses. And then just keep your options open, because you may find, if I had $1 for every time a student got to the end of year 1 and was like, I thought that I liked the life sciences, but now that I get to the end of year 1, I really want to explore this other area much more. This course that I took as an elective is much more interesting to me. So keep your options open. You never know what can happen. Okay, final word on elective. Remember that courses that you take as electives are also highly academic courses. These are, your elective is somebody else's program requirement. So there's so much here for you. Really explore your options. All right, so going back to my list of courses, so biology, chemistry, and calculus, I know I need to take. Psychology, I highlighted here in yellow because it could be a program requirement. It could be something from within the life sciences I might be interested in pursuing later on down the line. And then my FAH 198, Shocking Art and Artists, is a first-year foundation course at Innis that I'm interested in. And then I'm interested in learning Hungarian as a language. So all half-credit courses except for Hungarian, which starts in September and the course ends in April. So this is where I go to start to build my timetable. I've used the calendar to select my courses. Now I'm going into the timetable. The timetable builder is not super intuitive. You have to play around with it for a little bit, but it's really important to note that it's used by all of the divisions of the Faculty of Arts and Science, all of the divisions at the University of Toronto and the other campuses. So you have to be intentional about choosing the Faculty of Arts and Science and then choosing the session that you're looking for. So the default is the current session. So I did a screenshot from what's available now, and the default is the summer session because students are enrolling in courses now for the summer. So you'll have to use this down arrow to get to fall winter. We're going to go into the timetable in a minute, but just to give you an idea of information that the timetable gives you, it tells you the section code of the course. If it's a half credit course, you need to know if it's offered in the F section or in the S section. Does the course start in the September or does it start in January? Or is it a Y section course? Not every full credit course that has a Y in the course code is a Y section course. Sometimes it's condensed into one semester. So you'll always want to double check that in the timetable. It gives you information about lectures, practicals, and tutorials. When you're enrolling in a course, you need to also be intentional about choosing all of the different components of the course. So the lecture first, and then if the course has a practical, which is a lab section, or a tutorial, or both, you need to choose one of those options as well. Class size and available space. You'll see that some classes are full or getting full by the time you have a chance to enroll in your courses. So you want to be careful and mindful and have a couple of backup options in mind when you're selecting your courses of other sections that you know would fit into your schedule. Enrollment controls, we'll have a slide coming up about enrollment controls, but it is a way of ensuring as best as we can that students who need the courses get access to them. So for example, Bio 120 and Bio 130 are have an enrollment priority to students who are first year life science students. So if you were a humanities student and you had a course enrollment time that was earlier than the life science students, then and you wanted to take the intro to biology courses, you wouldn't be able to enroll in the course until after that priority enrollment period is over, which is a week later. The delivery mode, online versus in person, nearly all courses are offered in person, but there are a couple of online options. And so you can see how you can use the timetable to find that information out, and then information about course instructors. This down here is a campus map. You won't find class locations in the timetable. They'll show up on Acorn, but not until much later in the summer. So you'll be enrolling in courses not knowing where on campus the courses are going to be held. So if you are putting back-to-back classes, so classes that end at the top of an hour, at the end of an hour, and the next class starts at the top of the hour directly afterwards, you have 10 minutes to get from place to place. And it's a huge campus. 10 minutes is generally sufficient to get around most places on campus. But if you can see this campus map divided by the two red bars on the left side of the leftmost bar, that's considered the west part of campus. In between the two red bars is central, and then to the right is east. East to west and west to east is difficult to get to within 10 minutes. So if a class ends at noon, your next one, if it's scheduled back to back, will start at 12:10. But it would be hard to get there within 10 minutes, particularly in the winter. So you'll want to review your course selections when course locations are posted on Acorn closer to August. All right. So I'm going to go into the timetable builder. All right. Can you see this? Hopefully, yes. I'm going to choose Faculty of Arts and Science. I'm going to choose fall, winter. I can go ahead and start typing in the course that I want to look for and click on it, or you can do a more refined search. If you want to narrow things down, you could say, show me a course that under Faculty of Arts and Science fulfills breadth category 1, that is in online synchronous, that is on the St. George campus at the 100 level, and then come up with, oh, no options. All right, well, that was a bad example. Let me try in person, search why, oh, because I left Bio 120 in there. Try again. 137 different courses, okay, that all fulfill breadth category 1 that are at the 100 level in the St. George campus in person, okay? So that's how you might use the timetable. But if I already had a list of courses that I was interested in enrolling in, we'll go back to this, show viewer filters, okay, Bio 120, search. Okay, so Bio 120 half credit course in the F section, so fall. There are, it looks like, 4 different lecture section options from which you choose one. But I can tell you that under this enrollment controls column, this restriction, this section, lecture section 2000, is restricted to students in the transitional year program. So that's not any of you. You're not eligible to join that section. Same thing with this one is for students in the Faculty of Kinesiology and Physical Education. So that's not for you. So you can choose lecture section 0101 or 5101. If you choose lecture section 0101, along with 1,479 of your fellow classmates will be taking this course Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 11. It's actually 10:10. Remember, classes start 10 minutes after the hour. 10:10 to 11. 2 times a week for lecture. So let's say you wanted to add this one to your timetable. So remember, this is a planning tool. And then you can choose practical section. So practicals are your labs, and you choose whichever one makes the most sense for you. Now, for those students who are going to be taking Bio 120, Bio 130, and Chemistry 135 and Chemistry 136, labs meet every other week. And so what you would like to do, ideally, is choose lab times that are at the same day, same time, but make sure that they're every other week. So it'll come up as a conflict in your planning tool here, but it's not actually a conflict if you choose labs that end in the same number for each of the 2 courses. So for biology, you can see the practicals end in number 1 or number 2. Chemistry also ends in 1 or 2. If you want to schedule labs Wednesday afternoons for both courses, then you choose a practical in Bio 120 that ends in the number 1, and then you choose Chemistry 135, that a lab that also ends in the number 1. You don't have to remember this. The information is should be here. Well, we'll use the chemistry department. I think they write it out a little bit better, but it tells you that the labs meet every other week and the week that they start. Okay, so to recap, if you want labs that are offered at the same time in the 2 different courses, choose ones that end in the same number. So 1 or 2. Okay, so I'm going to choose, let's say Thursday, practical 0301. Okay, and if there's no tutorials, so I can go back and put in my next course. So chemistry 135 is offered in the first semester and also in the second semester. But Chemistry 135 is a prerequisite to Chemistry 136. So you'll want to ensure that you take it in the first semester if you're planning on taking Chemistry 136. So you search Chemistry 135. So again, there's a whole bunch of different lecture options. You choose one. They're slightly smaller than your bio, 500 student capacity. Note that this section 0101, 0201, 0301 are all in person, and 5101 is online synchronous. So you choose one. The one you choose is the one that you stick with. So choose something that fits well into your schedule. So I'm going to use this to add it to my timetable. Again, just a planning tool. The class size for the lecture is quite large. The tutorials all are capped at 50, so much smaller, and there are dozens of them. So just choose one that you think will work. And I believe with the labs, I chose Wednesday afternoons. So I'm going to look for Wednesday afternoon for my timetable. Now, it says it's a conflict. It's not a conflict because both my bio practical ends in the number 1 and chemistry ends in the number 1. And I'll show you here. If you plan to take Chem 135 and Bio 120 labs in the same time, please select practical sections that end in the same number. Okay. All right. So you saw the list of courses I was planning on taking: biology, chemistry, calculus, Hungarian, psychology, and um, the Shocking Art and Artists, the FAH 198. So I put all of those together in my schedule, and it looks something like this. This is my fall term's worth of courses. So you can see I have no back-to-back classes because I'm not in any interest in rushing anywhere. So I have lots of gaps between my classes, things that there are courses that have multiple lecture options. Not every course does. Some courses only have one lecture option, and that's the one that you have to choose. But other courses that have multiple options, think about things that are important to you. Are you a morning person? Do you think you can make it to class if it was offered at 9 a.m., which would be the earliest class? Do you have a long commute in the evening? Well, if that's the case, maybe you don't want to take an evening class. Some courses go all the way up until 9 p.m. So do you have a job that you'll need to have Friday afternoons available? Well, then don't choose courses that are offered at that time. Are you planning on doing the Innis College Life Science Flick? Then you'll need to keep Mondays 2 to 3:30 open and available as well. So these are all important considerations. We talked about the labs a bit as well. All right, this is the winter term that I had planned out. Here, I didn't have a choice. I had to schedule some things back to back, but then I'll look on campus, look on the map on Acorn and see where the courses are located and ensure that I can get from place to place in time. Plan things like, do you get hungry every day at noon and have to eat something? You'll want to ensure that you have time for lunch as well. Okay, so it doesn't actually look like there's a whole lot of class time. You're used to, for your high school, being classes from 8:30 to 3 p.m. straight. Here, you've got lots of gaps. Chemistry on Wednesdays, that's my first class. It doesn't start until noon. Don't feel like, though, you have a ton of extra time. The university expects that for every hour of class time, you spend at least 2 hours of your own time studying for those courses each week. And that's preparing for your labs, that's studying the course content, that's doing problem sets and homework, writing papers. These are all important components every week. So all of those extra hours in your week are not free time for you. You should plan to make good use of them. All right, I have 10 slides to go and we have about 10 minutes, so I gotta hurry. Enrollment controls. So I talked a little bit about this and showed you an example with the priority enrollment control and the restricted enrollment controls. Those are the ones that you're most often likely to run into in your first year. Priorities go away. So priorities are lifted after a week. So if you're interested in enrolling in a priority enrollment course that you don't meet the priority access to, then you'll have availability as of July 26th. Your course enrollment day is July 18th. Priorities are lifted as of the 26th. Any restricted courses, those restrictions never go away. So like, for example, there's Intro to Computer Programming course, CSC 110, that is available for students in the computer science admission category, and it's only ever available for students in the computer science admission category. You'll never gain access to enrolling in that course. Okay. So when and where does course enrollment happen? Everything happens on Acorn. So Acorn is your course enrollment tool. This is where you will be enrolling in courses, dropping courses, managing your schedule, seeing your invoice, paying, seeing how much you would need to pay your fees, where you would defer your fee payment if you're using a provincial financial aid program or if you have a scholarship. So all of these things happen on Acorn. You'll become very, very familiar with this. On the left-hand navigation, there is a tab for enroll. You click on it and a menu pops up to show you the option to enroll in courses or programs. You want to choose courses. Plot all of your courses using the calendar and the timetable, and then log into your account on Acorn to add them to your enrollment cart. So Acorn, you can log in now, really, and add them to your enrollment cart. And your enrollment cart is kind of like online shopping. You plan your schedule, put these courses in your enrollment cart, and then you come back on your course enrollment day to enroll in each of them. The more planned and prepared you are, the more likely it is that you'll get into all of the courses and sections that you want. If you delay, even by a couple of hours, courses fill up, and then you end up on a wait list. And the wait list, in the students who are in the course, if they drop it, then the next person who's on the wait list, and it's all time stamped, will then get access to enrolling in the course. It's reasonable to join a waitlist if your waitlist number is within 10 to 15% of the total class size, but it's not reasonable. It's not reasonable to join the waitlist if your waitlist position is much bigger than that, because you can't expect that most of the students who are enrolled in the course are going to drop it. And if they do, you might want to question why. Okay. You'll have a very specific start time on July 18th to enroll in your courses, and you can find out what that start time is as of July 1st. So you can log into your account on Acorn. If you get a late start time, and late would be really anything after 12 noon. If you get a late start time, then you should have a couple of backup options for some of the courses and sections that you were planning on. So you can find out your start time by logging into your account on Acorn on July 1st, and then on July 18th for first year students, 15th and 10th for second and third year transfer students. At that assigned time, log into your account on Acorn and enroll in the courses that you had put in your enrollment cart. This is the homepage of the University of Toronto website. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's direct links to Acorn, your email, to any Quirkus courses that you've been invited to, like the Innis 101 Quirkus, that you can access it easily there. Okay, so some tips. Plan your schedule well in advance of July 18th. Don't plan all 4 years. Things will change. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a waste of your time and energy and mental capacity to plan all 4 years. Plan this year, maybe consider some courses for next year, because you'll want to make sure that you have the appropriate prerequisites for the courses that you might want to take next year, but don't plan anything beyond that. Have several options for courses that you want, including different lecture times for each of the courses, if possible. On July 18th, you can enroll into a maximum of 8 credits. On July 26th, the day that the priority period is over, you can add up to a 6th credit. Please don't plan to take 6 credits worth of courses. That's considered 120% enrolled. It is a ton of work. But if you wanted to, let's say you were trying to decide between 2 elective courses and you wanted to attend the lectures first or get a chance to meet the professor or see the course syllabus, then enroll in the course on July 26th, but with the intention of dropping one of them after that first week. I mentioned it's reasonable to join a waitlist if your waitlist position is within 10 to 15% of the total class size, and all of this is updated in real time, so you'll be able to make a decision on the spot. Enroll in the fall and winter, the full academic year. You can change things up until the second week of each term. So even if you enroll in winter term courses and you're not sure about them, you want to change, you found a different course you'd like to enroll in, you have until the second week in January to do that. But enroll in everything now to start with and then change later. Um, uh, Courses for which you don't meet the enrollment controls cannot be added to your cart, but course you can add conflicts and you can add courses for which you don't have the prerequisites for. So don't do that because the department, you just can't be in two places at once. So avoid putting yourself into any kind of conflict. If you run into a conflict and you or you put yourself into a conflict and then you run into some academic difficulty, there's really very little we can do for you. Because you intentionally put yourself into that conflict. If you put yourself into a course for which you don't meet the prerequisites, the departments will run a prerequisite check at some point and pull you out if you don't meet the prerequisites. So please ensure that you are eligible to take all of the courses that you are planning on taking. So what you're doing is enrolling in courses, but your goal is to be registered. So course enrollment plus fee payment, and there's a session coming up on fee payment in the next couple of minutes. Course enrollment plus fee payment equals registration. Registration secures your spot in the courses in which you enrolled. That deadline is August 27th. I'm just going to do this a couple of times. August 27th is your fee payment deadline. Make sure you pay for your fees. If you don't pay for your fees, then you'll be removed from the courses because the university will assume you're not coming. And then all the students on the wait list will say, woohoo, thank you for not paying your fees. Now I get a spot in that course. Okay. I don't want to take up too much time talking about fees. Note that your fees will be posted on Acorn in July. Daniela is going to tell you much more about fees in the next session. I already covered this. Acorn doesn't check for prerequisites or co-requisites. Waitlists turn off earlier than the last day to enroll in courses. So for example, the waitlist for F and Y courses turns off September 12th, but you still have about 4 days to still enroll in courses. So if you don't get in from the waitlist, then you spend those next 4 days constantly checking Acorn. It's like the Hunger Games, right? You check it. The more frequently you check Acorn to see if a space is available, the more likely it is that you'll see one and be able to grab it. And just be aware the Acorn is shut down for course enrollment on the 25th, 30th of July, and August 1st. If you log in on those dates and you can't enroll in courses, that's probably why. All right, so you use your registrar's office for help. Clearly, we have a lot of information, but I know it's overwhelming and I know there's a lot of information there. Use your resources, email us, registrar.innis or me directly, use the Innis 101 Quirkus and so on. All right, so hopefully, I don't want to take away time from your opportunity to take a break. We have about 7 or 8 minutes before the next session, but if there are any questions that you want to unmute yourself and ask, you're welcome to do that. I'll hang on for a few more minutes before everyone's going to be brought back to the main session. Or you can take a much needed break before the next part of the day continues. Anyone?
I had a question.
Yes.
Okay, so for the when you were enrolling in the chem and bio labs, like how you told us to make sure the last digit is the same, I was kind of confused with like would the times not clash for the two labs, and if they do, is that okay? Like, can you do the two of them simultaneously, or?
Right. So remember, the way to avoid them being on the same week is to ensure that the last number of the practical section ends in the same number. Either they both end in number 1 or they both end in the number 2 because the labs are offered every other week. So 1 week it's
Oh,
biology, the next week it's chemistry, the next week it's biology, and the following week it's chemistry. If they both end in the number 1, the lab sections, and they'll both be on those alternating weeks. Or if they both end in the number 2, again, they'll be on alternating weeks. So that's the way to schedule it so that it's not actually a conflict.
okay, thank you. And I had one more question that I had before the breakout rooms, but I just wanted to understand. I remember you saying earlier
Say that once more. Oh, sorry, you're breaking up.
on that the credits, sorry, the certificate rather.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We must have a bad connection because I'm only getting a couple of words.
Like for the certificates, I remember you said earlier on.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
It keeps breaking up. So about the certificates.
Um, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yep,
Yeah, I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to know, I know earlier on you said that it requires 2 credits, and I wanted to know if the 2 credits can be embedded in the 20 that we need to graduate, or do you need to take 2
Yeah.
extra credits separately for?
No. They can be part of the 20.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. Okay. You are welcome to leave the breakout room and go back to the main session if you like, which will start in just 5 minutes or so. And I'm also happy to answer a question if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask. You can also follow up by sending me an email to denise.gray@utoronto.ca.